We are going to begin this morning with the historic election of the first American Pope. Yesterday, he woke up as Cardinal Robert Prevost from Chicago. Today, he was leading his first Mass in the Sistine Chapel as Pope Leo XIV.
He is also now among the most famous people on earth. On the front pages of newspapers here in the U.S. and all around the world overnight, he became the leader of 1.4 billion Catholics. The best headline came from his hometown of Chicago. In true Chicago style, da Pope.
I love that headline, Nate. Tony and CBS News senior correspondent Norah O'Donnell are leading our coverage, as you know, from Rome. They join us now. First, Norah, I have to give you a shout out because didn't I say yesterday they're going to pick him today? I said absolutely not, and Norah said no, it's going to happen today. So bravo, Norah. Bravo.
She hedged her bets a little. She did hedge her bet a little.
I just wish we had waged some money, Gayle. I wish we had waged some money on this.
I do too.
As we learned yesterday, betting is perfectly okay.
Yes.
Betting's okay in the Catholic Church. Gayle, it's so amazing. It is such a thrill to be here. What a great story. And that same hometown newspaper that you mentioned reports that the new pope used to play pretend priest as a kid, reciting prayers over a little table with a white cloth in his family's brick house on the south side of Chicago. I mean, it is such a shock and a surprise. And Norah, down there in the crowd, you were here, I was there. It really felt like a dream as people processed this.
I mean, you did a great job down there in capturing all of the people, you know, shouting out whatever they were saying about, oh my gosh, an American. I mean, it was just an extraordinary moment to witness. We were all looking, of course, at the chimney just minutes before because there were these two seagulls that came out and the crowd was making this noise, and it was because there was a baby seagull. Aww. And so then I was like, oh, maybe it's a sign of rebirth. And then all of a sudden the white smoke comes out and we were like, oh my gosh. So there was something spiritual about it.
That is beautiful. I missed that completely. And the shockwave, if you were keeping track at home, it started around 6 p.m. local time here yesterday. We saw that white smoke Norah mentioned. We heard the chimes of the church bells. The city of Rome woke up and ran to the square. And then the cheers, of course. And it's important to note, the celebration here was not just for Catholics. I met a lot of folks from other faiths, people who only recently even returned to the church after walking away.
And this is now the third consecutive pontiff to be elected in 2 days. And even before his name was announced, people were chanting, Viva il Papa. But we soon found out, it was about an hour later, that Papa would be an American from Chicago, also a dual citizen of Peru because he worked there for more than 2 decades, Cardinal Robert Prevost, who took the name Leo XIV. You know, most people didn't see it coming, although if you look at my Instagram and TikTok, Sister Rose, who we met earlier, predicted it for American Catholics, that it was something they'd long hoped for and could mean some change when it comes to women in the church. His first words to the crowd were, peace be with all of you. And Leo's wearing of the red cape, something his predecessor skipped, suggests perhaps a return to tradition, but his pastoral approach, some say, will also be seen as a continuation of Pope Francis. That's why they're saying bridge builder.
Sister Rose clearly knew something that we did not, and we're also trying to figure out who this new pope is and what he stands for. So for more on that, let's bring in Seth Doane, who is here as well with us. Seth, good morning.
We were talking with people at the Augustinian just next door where he lived, and we said, will you get used to this new name, Leo? They said, well, we call him Bob.
Father Bob.
Father Bob. We understand he is an avid reader and a tennis player. He has a bachelor's degree in mathematics from Villanova and speaks at least 5 languages. As cardinal, he was in charge of the powerful Vatican committee to create bishops.
He was here just yesterday as cardinal. This morning, he was back as Pope Leo XIV. We were in the crowd of about 100,000, learning at the same time that 69-year-old Robert Prevost would become the first pope from the U.S.
Prevost, an American pope. An American pope.
Father Angelo Di Baradino just had lunch with the now pope earlier this week.
What kind of man is he?
He was very quiet man, very helpful, very kind.
It's epic. This is unheard of. None of us were expecting this.
Monsignor Anthony Figueiredo is a CBS News papal and Vatican contributor.
He left the United States to go as a missionary to a very poor diocese in Peru at the age of 30.
What does that say to you?
That says to me, this is a man who follows in the footsteps of Pope Francis.
Pope Francis just made Prevost a cardinal in 2023. At the time, the Chicago native, who became a citizen of Peru, called himself a lifelong missionary.
Look at the challenges that the church in the United States is facing. I hope to be able to respond to them with a healthy dialogue.
Where does he stand on so many of what we consider these hot button issues?
Certainly he took some quite traditional positions. He said that that's not a solution to ordain women as deacons. He also indicated that homosexual lifestyle and same-sex marriage is not always in accord with church teaching. He's now Pope of the Universal Church, so certainly some of his views on these areas, again following on Pope Francis, can change.
SNAP, the U.S.-based advocacy group for victims of clerical sex abuse, renewed its criticism that Prevost did not do enough to discipline predatory priests. Father Di Berardino said he believes the new pope will mend divisions in the church.
He will be building in breaches between the people.
He talked about that.
We have differences of thinking, but must stay together.
Cardinal Prevost has dipped into politics on X, sharing an article that was critical of J.D. Vance during a February debate about immigration. He also shared statements criticizing abortion and echoed Pope Francis's views on embracing migrants.
Seth, thank you very much. Really appreciate it.